And now's the time to start planning. But a lot of people have difficulty with the planning process. And what they mostly have difficulty with, not necessarily coming up with goals, but it's more about the implementation. And without a plan, you can't get to really implement and be consistent with your implementation. And that's where a lot of people everything falls apart. So I have a strategy. I'm going to walk you through this process and feel free to take notes. The first thing you do is you're going to do a goals dump. You're going to think of all the goals you want to accomplish this year. And you're going to go through a process. As you start to do this goals dump on your piece of paper, or if you're doing it digitally, typing it up, you're going to do SMART goals. If you can see this, I will put it closer to the SMART goals, okay? So what that means is first, you need to be specific, okay? Need to state exactly what you want to accomplish and what you'll do. Okay, I'm getting messages. I'm still on, I believe. Okay, good. Be specific. State what you're going to do. And you can use action words there. Okay, so I'm going to grow my business by, 2x, 3x, 5x. Now keep in mind, the next is you're going to have it, your goal is going to be measurable. So it's great to have goals that make you feel better. Okay. But you need to be able to measure that in some way. Sometimes feeling goals are more difficult to measure. So you're going to have to be more creative. What does that mean? Feeling better. Okay. So I encourage you to come up with more tangible goals and habits, because we'll talk about that later, that will get you towards moving towards your ultimate goal. Okay. So make things measurable. How are you going to measure it? Is it something you can, different ways you can use to evaluate whether you are getting closer to this goal and how far you need to go yet to accomplish it? If you can use metrics, revenue, sales calls, leads, how many days a week you're going to exercise, how many days a week you're going to replace a meal with a smoothie, how many pounds you're going to lose, how much muscle mass you're going to gain, how much, I use a lot of fitness and business goals, but it could be, I have my daughter does gymnastics, so she's going to participate in so many meets and what placement she's going to try to achieve. Or if she's trying to improve her tumbling, what tumbling skills she's going to learn by the end of this year. So there's lots of different things, or number of friends, or, my, someone I know, I won't mention, somebody wants to get a girlfriend by the end of the school year. So, that's tangible. And like he'll have to come up with measurements to how he's going to get towards getting a girlfriend by the end of the year. Make things achievable. I gave an example at the beginning. You know, you're going to 2x your revenue, 3x. Now, if you're saying, oh, I'm going to 10x my revenue, is that achievable? Can it be done? You can do anything you want to do. However, when you have lots of goals, you also have to realize if you focus all of your energy in one area, say to 10x your revenue, other areas of your life are going to suffer. So you want to make sure it's more balanced. Okay. So make it achievable. You want it to be a stretching goal, okay, that you are stretching yourself to achieve this, but that it is actually achievable. So within your scope, that you can do it, that you can see putting in things in place so that you can achieve this goal. If you're planning to lose 20 pounds by the end of the year, then, what can how are you going to do that? Can you reach, 5 pounds lost by a certain time, 10 pounds, 15, 20, so make it achievable, relevant. Whatever your goals are, is it relevant to your overall vision of your life? Okay. Make sure that so many times, and I use business examples. I want to grow my business, I'm growing my revenue. Well, marketing is a great example. There's a lot of things you can do in marketing, tons. Which things in marketing are you going to do that will actually truly move the needle? You can be distracted by lots of things. Which is going to is the most relevant to get you the results that you want by the end of the year? Time bound. So I want you to state how long it's going to take. And we're going to, as I go through this, we're going to get in a little bit more detail so that makes a little bit more sense. And keep in mind that I do believe in habits. Habits are more important to implement than saying, "Oh, I'm going to do this certain. I'm going to lose 20 pounds by by summer." But if you don't change your habits and have certain things in place, you're not going to hit that goal. So I do believe in, don't just throw a time out there. That's why we have step 2 and 3, which are coming up next, which will help you work on your habits. Okay, so those are your SMART goals, and I will send this out to you so you can. I will attach this in the comments. Number 2, of after you've done your goal dump, okay, you're going to pick 2 personal goals and 2 business goals. If you try to say, "Oh, I'm going to pick, 8 goals," you are easily going to overwhelm yourself. Easily. In fact, I would even say be careful with 4, the 2 business and 2 personal, because even that can overwhelm you. And I'll give you an example of that. But for the year, you can definitely say 2 personal and 2 business. Okay, that's 4 goals altogether. Now, keep in mind, someone mentioned to me, well, hey, I'm retired. I don't really have business goals or career goals. Well, as a retiree, you might say, well, maybe I want to add a goal where I'm giving back to the community. I'm impacting the community in some way. Or maybe your goals are shifting where you're taking care of another family member. And so that's part of your goal. Maybe that's one of your goals. Another thing is, honestly, if you are retiree age, depending upon your age, you should have 2 or 3 health goals. That makes sense. That is more of a focus in your life, and you're shifting away from career and business and focusing more on health and well-being. So, even though I said 2 personal, 2 business, keep in mind where you are in your life cycle and what makes sense for you. Okay, number 3, you're going to break this down by quarterly goals. And why do we do that? We logically can break things down by quarter. We're used to that when we were in school. We had, semesters and we had quarters to base things by. And so it was easy to break things down. And one thing to think about this is if you set your goals for the year and you try to put them all together, it's like looking at this gigantic elephant. And like how do you eat an elephant? Well, you eat it one piece at a time. You have to break down your large goal into small bite-sized pieces. And I also would encourage you to, when you do your quarterly goals, I plan my week out and I plan I look at it and I say, well, what habits can I put in place this week that will get me to my goal, my quarterly goal? And I might not have something every day. Maybe I'm doing something twice a week. I come up with a schedule for the week and I try to make a consistent schedule so I'm making certain behaviors a habit, whether it's exercise, whether it's posting, whether it's sending certain emails, whether it's making sales calls, doing my Facebook lives. I have schedules and this helps me stay organized. I'm putting habits in place that ultimately work towards my end goal. So that is three. Number four is an accountability partner. I encourage this because sometimes we feel so isolated, and it is helpful to have somebody where you can bounce ideas off of and you can say, oh, well, these are my goals this week. And you can meet with that accountability partner once a week. Maybe it's a half hour, maybe it's an hour. It's a nice time for each of you to share. This is what I planned for this week. And they'll call you on it. Did you accomplish those goals this week? No, I didn't. Why didn't you? And what have you learned from the experience? What can you change to make sure you meet those goals? It also they might call you on it and say, "Hey, does that goal make sense? Has something changed and you need to shift that goal?" And so that's very important. Goals don't if you it's hard to plan out for a whole year, and I know it sounds like a long, it's not that long of a time, but sometimes a lot of things happen throughout the year and you have to adjust, be agile, and change those goals. So sometimes when you work with an accountability partner and meet with them once a week or twice a week, whatever works with for you, um, that way you can touch base and say how I need to change things. They help to keep you on track. You help to keep them on track. And it's amazing the gold that comes out of those accountability partner meetings. You really end up coaching each other through sometimes difficult times, helping you to see different perspectives, sort of get out of your head and, so you can move on and keep heading towards your goals. So those are your four steps. That was goal dump, and you're going to use your smart goal process. Number two was you're going to pick two personal and two business. Number three, you're going to make quarterly goals. Again, about the quarterly, another reason why you do a quarterly is sometimes when you see this big goal, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to make that, because you feel like you have to sprint the whole time. But if you have this measurable goal at the quarter, you're like, you know what? I can achieve that. I can achieve that. So you work towards that quarterly goal. And then when you get that, you're like, okay, I got this quarterly goal. Now what's my next quarterly goal? And then you can sprint to that. It's it's something that you can manage, a manageable span of time that you can work towards a manageable goal. So, and then number four was your try to select an accountability partner. It can be a friend, it can be a coworker,